Hi, my name is Babette, and I'd like to spend a few minutes talking to you about metronomes. And this is because, of course, I'm having people ask me what is the best kind of metronome or what do I recommend. I know there are a lot of good metronomes out there. I only have a few, and I certainly haven't tried all of them. Most of mine are actually kind of old, which tells you that they'll last for a while. So what I'm going to point out to you is a couple things to look for and show you a little bit about mine, and then you can go from there. Two things that you really want to look for is to make sure that the metronome click is loud enough for you to hear it when you are playing with it. For example, when you're doing the rhythm exercises, the rhythm lessons that we have, you need the click of your metronome to be loud enough that you can hear it when you're playing with it. And unfortunately, when you're reading descriptions of metronomes online, it's pretty hard to tell how loud the click is. Another thing that you probably want to look for, and that I've used a few times, is to see if the metronome has a jack for your earbuds or headphones. Because if the click is not loud enough, you want to make it where you can hear the click. So that can often be an important feature. Okay, now let's take a look at some metronomes. We're going to start with one type that I wouldn't recommend for practicing with. It's good to give you the tempo of something, but you'll never be able to hear the sound, and it doesn't have a jack for an earbud or headphones. This particular one comes along with a tuner that you would clip onto the violin, and this particular tuner is not available anymore, I don't think. But the sound of the metronome, I don't know if you can tell how quiet it is, but it's very, very tiny. So it's like if you know what the tempo of something is supposed to be, you would click on a metronome, something like this, and you would get the tempo and feel the pulse and be ready to go, but it's not loud enough to practice with. Well, let's start off by talking about my go-to metronome, and it's this little Seiko that I've had for years and years and years. It's really rugged. It has fallen on the floor more times than I can care to count. The back falls off, the battery pops out, just put it back, and away she goes. This thing is very sturdy. One of the things I like about this metronome is that it has a good sound to it, so you can hear when you're playing. And if for some reason you couldn't, there are jacks on the side of this metronome. Now this is a simple metronome. There's nothing fancy about it. For instance, it doesn't have every single number that you can go to. It has, for example, 88 to 92. It doesn't have 89, it doesn't have 90, and it doesn't have 91. But these numbers are close enough that for daily practice, this should do the trick. And it should do the trick at making you better. This is what I've used for years. Another thing that this doesn't do is it doesn't give you extras like, are you beating 4 beats or 3 beats to a measure, or do you need it subdivided or something like that. This one is just straight clicks. And it has a tuner. There's nothing I can do to change anything but the straight clicks, but it has great sound, and like I said, this is one that I use on a daily basis. So if you're interested in a great Seiko like this, although this model is not available, there's been several updated versions since I've bought this one. I have students that buy them, and I will give you a link to them down below. How's that? Now, as I said, the Seiko doesn't subdivide, so I haven't been using that in our rhythm lessons. What I've been using is this great little Korg metronome. And actually this is a Korg TMR50 tuner metronome recorder. And I have not used it for a tuner. I have not used it for a recorder, but I have used it for a metronome. And this is the metronome that you're hearing if you're following along in our rhythm lessons. And let me give you an example. It's not as strong a sound as the Seiko, but it's a nice sound. Like here we are at 92, and that's regular 4 beats. But I can make this one subdivide into eighth notes. One thing I forgot to mention about the 4 beats is this. It will give a different sound on the first beat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, like the Seiko, this does not dial in every single number either. Matter of fact, it has the same numbers as the Seiko as far as I can tell. This Korg can go up to 9 beats per measure, and then you can click the button again and you can get it in the eighth notes like I just did. Or you can click it again and get triplets, and you click it again and it will play the first and the third of the triplet and leave out the middle one. You can make it beat in 16th notes, so it can divide into different types of rhythm depending on what you're trying to work on. There's also some other functions here. It has the jacks for the headphones or the earbuds. It has a USB plug-in, which I don't really know what that's for. It also has an input jack. So there are several things that this nice little Korg does, and they have Korgs just like this available on Amazon, and I'll give you a link to them down below as well. Now, another fun type of metronome I have is called the body beat, the Peterson body beat. And this one I got a number of years ago because I thought it would be great with some students that really have trouble feeling the pulse. And it has functions just like the others, where you can change this up to the number of beats per measure, and see it's pretty loud. It has where you can also change to eighth notes and 16th notes, and actually some more intricate patterns if you need to practice those. One of the really cool feature I got this for is because you can plug in this little doodad right here in the top, and you change noise to a vibration. I hope you can hear that. So both of these things have clips on them. Clips on the back where, I don't know if you could see that right there, you could clip it onto your finger, but actually it's not where you're supposed to clip it. You want to clip it onto your pants or something, a belt or something like that to hold it. And then you clip this to a different place. Like, there's some really good places, like your pocket by your waistline is a good one, or the back of your pants on the band, right in the smaller your back seems to work well. With some people, it's better at the back of the neck. I've even used it clipping on students' shoes so that they would learn how to tap to the rhythm. So when I bring this one out, they think this is a lot of fun, and I've had some students order this one for this reason. Now, the fun thing about this, the new fun thing about this is that I'm not sure that this particular one is available anymore. But guess what they've done? You can buy these and plug them into any metronome. Well, that's according to what they're saying. I haven't done that yet, but I'm thinking, golly, maybe I'll do that so I'll, have one more cool gadget. So I'm going to send you a link to down there in the bottom. Now, the last metronome that I'm going to show you is a Dr. Beat Boss. And this one I've had for years too, so it's been updated greatly from what I've got, although they look very similar. And let me tell you what this one does. This one I bring out, it's like the heavy artillery for a couple of reasons. This one has a really nice sound, and listen to that. You can make it where the accent is on the first beat, which I've done there. But you can also do this where you can hear eighth notes, or you can hear 16th notes. Now, another thing that's really interesting about this one is that you can change the voicing. And this, when I bring this out, students know I mean business. That's that voicing. That's that voicing.
3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
And that's that voicing.
2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
And they learn really quick because they don't want to hear the drill sergeant for very long.
3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now, both the Dr. Beat and the Korg have one feature that I forgot to mention when I was talking about the Korg, but I'll show you now. And it's a tap function. This one has a tap button. So if you're listening to a piece of music and that you're trying to learn it and you think, well, how fast should this go? You can click on that tap and then down here and tap along with the music when you feel the rhythm.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And in the display here, it will tell you what you're tapping, so you can see for tapping steady for one thing, but you'll get an idea of what the tempo for that piece of music is. On the Korg, that button is right here. The Dr. Beat also has an input jack. It has a place for an adapter. It has a place for your earbuds or your earphone. It also has other functions of, fun things that it does. If you have the time and the inclination to learn how to do that, which I thought I did, but I've never gotten there. So this is a really cool one, and like I said, when I bring it out, my students know I mean business. To recap, the metronomes that I've shown you are the Seiko, which is my daily go-to metronome. It has a little stand on it too if you want to stand it up someplace. Then there's the Korg, which is the one that I've been using on the rhythm lessons. Then there was the Body Beat that has this neat little thing that you'll feel the pulse, but you won't hear the sound, but you could feel it when you play. And that's really cool. That works really well. And then there's the Dr. Beat. I will have links to as many of these as I can in the bottom here. And so you just go down, click on the link, and buy the metronome of your dreams. I hope you find this helpful. Looking forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you for listening. Until next time. Bye-bye.